Okay, this lesson is on basic statistics. We're going to review some important concepts. We will break this lesson into two videos. The first part, we're going to talk about foundational statistics, how we find them and what they mean. And in the second one, we're going to analyze and interpret some statistical displays. So some foundational stats and displays that you've already seen and that are referenced regularly in math and maybe all over in the media and things like that would be mean, median, standard deviation, a 5-number summary, a box and whisker plot, also known as a box plot, and a histogram. Okay, so take a look at this. This is a histogram. Cheng and Dakota were asked to estimate the mean and the median of the following data set. Cheng said that the middle value is 11, so the mean and median should both be around 11. Dakota said that most of the data are on the left, so the mean and the median would both be around 8 or 9. Who do you think has better reasoning and why? Well, the number here is 11, and on the graph that is in the middle, but that is not really an accurate way of describing this, because really we're looking at the frequency. You'll notice here is on the y-axis. That's the frequency of the data set, how many times that occurred. So even if we just look at 6 to 7, that score, it occurred, it looks like 12 times. So that happened 12 times. So if I were to write that data set out, I would have, maybe it's like 6 and 6.4, 6.1. It's a bunch of numbers between 6 and 7 that happened 12 times. I would have to write all those out. And then I would have to do that for every one of these bars here. And that's all my data entries. So if I'm going to list all of those out, the mean and the median are probably going to occur somewhere in this area, because most of that data is on the left. So Dakota is correct in this. We're going to talk a little bit more about that throughout this unit. Okay, so mean, median, and standard deviation. The mean, you'll notice here, you'll see this X bar. That is another way to display mean in statistics, and you'll often see that referenced that way. But the mean is the average. And one of the ways that you can find those, the quick way, is to add all the numbers up and divide by however many entries there are in the data set. The median is the middle number, and that you need to put the numbers in order and then find the middle number after that. And then lastly, standard deviation. There's a couple of different ways that this will be displayed on a calculator or in the text, and that is with the lowercase Greek letter sigma or with a capital S. Sometimes on your calculator, there are two different kinds, and we're going to talk about those two different kinds. The standard deviation really is the average distance the data points are from the mean. This really measures how spread out the data points are. A small number means that the data is clumped together. A higher number means that the data is spread out or it varies a lot. This is a lot of work to do by hand, so we can use our calculator to find this number, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this lesson. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are two types of standard deviation. The sigma one will be displayed on your calculator. You'll see it right here. It has a sigma and then an X next to it. This one is the one for population. So this is if you do an entire population. And then the other one is for a sample. Okay, so that one would be the one right above it in blue there, I circled. So which one do you use? Well, if you are given a data set without any context, so in other words, like not a word problem, generally we're going to use the population one. So that's important. If you are given context, then you are going to need to choose the right one. So if you have a word problem, you're going to need to determine which one should I be using. If they say we did an entire population or a total or whatever, then you're probably using the population one. If they say we did some of these, then you're going to use that sample one. So hopefully that makes sense. A lot of times you're probably using the population one, but again, if it's a word problem, double check, because then oftentimes it's probably going to be a sample. Okay, data displays. Well, there are a couple of data displays that we want to talk about in this, and one is histograms, and they look kind of like a bar graph, but they're not. They have bars, and what they show is just kind of the shape of the data. That's really important. And I'm actually going to highlight that's down here in the text. It shows the shape of the data. In this case, you can kind of see most of the data is towards the right. The data is organized into intervals. So that is the difference between this and a bar graph. On a bar graph, on the bottom, it's usually categories. It might be like colors, red, blue, green, and those would be on the bottom. But you'll notice here, this is intervals, numerical intervals. So from like 6 to 7, 8 to 9, 10 to 11, etc. So that is important because then those get all dumped in there. How many times did somebody post 8 to 9 times? You see right here, we look over here and that happened 3 times. So these are data displays that are a quick reference. So that is a histogram. A box plot we talked about before. And box plots, also known as a box and whisker plot, they generally just show you the center of the data and how spread out it is. It will also tell you, like the middle 50%, that'll be the box part. It'll show you a 5-number summary. Those things are important, but it's a good quick reference to just notice where's the center of the data and then which way is it skewed one way or another, which we'll talk about more in this unit as well, and then the spread. So those are important statistical displays. Okay, so we're going to go over how to find some of this stuff on our calculators. And you'll notice on the right over here, I've put just kind of a quick summary about how we do that on our graphing calculator, our TI-84s that we'll use in class. There are a variety of ways. Desmos is a good way to use things and to do these as well. But this is what we're going to use in class. So I'm going to go over that on our calculator. So here is the data display. You'll notice that all the data, 4, 12, 15, etc., is not in order. That is okay. So I'm going to find all 3 of these, and I'm not going to put these all in order. I'm just going to use my calculator to do this. So let me show you how that's done. So first, I want to open up the MCA calculator on your iPad. It's the Orange app. Let me see here. You'll see here the lower left-hand kind of corner, that Orange app MCA calculator. That's the one that we're using. All right. So here we go. We're going to enter the data in. So I'm going to follow some steps. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to press Stat, which is near the top, right by the alpha, kind of two buttons over. So we're going to press that. And then I want to edit data or enter data. So the very first one, it says edit. We're going to hit enter. Okay. Now, if there's any data that's in your calculator, you're just going to go up with the arrow keys and highlight the list and then press clear, enter. And that will clear everything out. So I'm going to do that. So now I have everything cleared out. Now I'm just going to enter the data that was given to us on that slide previously and just put it in there. So here I go, 4, 12, 15, 9, 14, 16, 13, 6, 7, 6 again, 25, 3, 13, 17, 22, and 4. It's a lot of numbers. We just entered 16 numbers, so you want to make sure you get everything in there. Okay, so now you've done that. Once you have those values entered in, you're going to hit Stat again. Okay. Now, this time, we're going to scroll on the top, and we're going to go over to Calculate. Okay, now the very first one says 1-var stats. That's the one we want. It's 1 variance statistics, but we're going to hit enter for that. Okay, now it should say list, L1, etc. We want to go down to calculate, so you're going to scroll down and just highlight calculate, hit enter. Okay, so now you get this display here, and you'll notice I see a couple of things that I want. The first one is that X bar, that's my mean. That's what I'm looking for. So I want to write that into my notes, 11.625. I also have, now this time we were looking for the standard deviation as well. Remember, we weren't given any context. We were just given a problem. So we're going to use the population one, the sigma one. So that one is 6.313. And we're going to write that one down. And then if I want, the other one I want is the median, which I'm going to scroll down, and you'll notice the information that I need for that. That's MED, median. It's 12.5. So all the information that I needed was right there. I just had to enter the data and then press Stat and go through a couple of steps. But really entering the data is going to take you the longest. So all that information is there, and I'm just going to write it into my notes now. Okay. And feel free to go back and just review what I just did if that didn't make sense. Again, it's on the right-hand side over here. That's exactly what I just did. So hopefully that helps. But our mean was, let's write it in here, 11.625. The median, I had to scroll down to get that. That was 12.5. And then I want the standard deviation, that was the sigma with the X next to it. And that was 6.313. I'm often going to go like 3 decimal places for the standard deviation. But that's how we found that. So that is your mean, median, and standard deviation on your calculator. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense. Okay, again, when you're doing this, these are the things that you should see on your calculator. You're going to go to Edit. You're going to enter the data by pressing Stat. Enter the data in this first list here. You're going to put all of that, just press the number, and then hit Enter each time and just scroll your way on down. Then you're going to hit Stat again. Okay, and on the top, you're going to scroll so you get the calc. And then the very first one is the one we want, 1-var stats. Go to calculate. And then the information that you need. X bar, remember, is your average. Your standard deviation was also displayed there. It was, this one is the one we wanted, the population one, since we weren't given any context. And then the median, you have to scroll down to get that. So that's where all that information is. Okay. Okay, so I just have that slide to write it in, I guess, again. Okay, so let's try this. An electronics store has 8 computers in stock. The prices are shown below. 700, 650, 650, 700, 625, 900, 725, and 700. So these are all their computers. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to figure out what the mean, the median, and the standard deviation are for this problem. We're going to follow those steps on the right, and here we go. Okay, so I'm going to hit stat. I want edit, enter. I'm going to clear this list out, so I'm going to highlight L1, hit clear, enter. All right, now I'm just going to type in those numbers. They were 700, 650, 650, 700, 625, 900, 775, and 700. Okay, I've entered in the data. Now I'm going to hit stat again. Okay, this time I'm going to scroll to the top to calculate. Okay, I want the first one variance statistics. Enter. Go down to calculate again. Enter. All right, and I have my information. Okay, so the mean is 712.5. My standard deviation, again, in this problem, we had all 8 computers were all they had left. So we're going to say 82.916. We'll round that to. And then the median is 700. Okay, so we're going to write that, and we've got it. Okay, so the mean was 712.5. The median, we scrolled down to get that, was 700. The standard deviation was 82.91 rounded 6. Okay, so this is the end of part 1. This is just a quick review of some of those basic statistics. In the next one, we're going to talk about some data displays. All right, see ya.